By the way, means, comes from what word in Hebrew? Aaron. Aaron, the priest in the Old Testament, is Harun in Arabic. So his name is really Aaron, but in Arabic it's Harun. It's called Harun the Magnificent, Harun al-Rashid. Anyway, he has two sons. Amun, and I think the other one is Amin. I think it's Amin. I'm not sure. I think it is.
Yes.
He has two sons. Ma'mun, they squabble with each other for the caliphate, but Ma'mun ultimately wins out. But in any case, Ma'mun is another cultural figure, but he actually is engaged to one of the Shiite imams' descendants. Ma'mun wants to amalgamate Shiism and the Abbasids. And something bad goes down here. I don't know exactly. We'll do it when we do Shiism presently. I'm going to deal with Shiism momentarily. But something bad happens here, and this doesn't come off in some way, and it ends up badly for both sides. But Ma'mun is trying to amalgamate the Shiite partisans, the partisans of Ali, because it's the family of the Prophet after all, same type of thing, but more specifically focused on Ali and his immediate descendants, with the Abbasid family of the Prophet line, and to try to amalgamate the power of those two things. He fails. But if he had succeeded, Islamic history might have been quite a bit different. So that is, I think, the last attempt of that kind of thing, and we'll talk about that. That produces a division in Shiism. So in fact, in Shiism around the same time, and I think it's connected, but we don't have the actual records of it, so we can't say, we have 5 Imam Shiism. I'm going to tell you what these things are later. Five Imam Shiism, 7 Imam Shiism, and 12 Imam Shiism. And a lot of other offshoots. For instance, Baha'is, who follow the Baha'i Ummah, and Druze, who follow a teacher called Al-Darazi. And even in Syria today, the Alawis, who are now the present leaders in Syria. They're offshoots, or they're Shiite offshoots, those groups. You say, well, what's 5 Imam Shias? Well, I'll tell you about the Imam, not now, but later. But basically, it's the successors to Ali. Ali is the first Imam, and his two sons, Hassan and Hussein, are the second and third Imam. And where they consider the Imams to stop, that's where they become either they believe in a succession of 5 Imams, 7 Imams, or 11 or 12 Imams. Now, the 7 Imamers, who are known after the name of the Imam that disappears at this time, Ismail, are known as Ismailis after his name. The 7 Imam Shiites are Ismailis. So at the time of the 7th Imam, there was a break of some kind. There was one of the 5 Imams was one of the 7 Imams. The 5 Imams, by the way, are known as Zaydis, after the Imam Zayd. And the 12th Imam, they're called Jafaris, after the Imam Jafar, who was actually Ismail's father. So there was a break somewhere in here. And that break between the Jafaris, though they go on to 12 Imams, has something to do with this Ma'mun situation, I think. It was around the time of this Caliph al-Ma'mun. It was something occurred here. I don't know what the whole thing was. But in any case, who are the 12 Imam Shiites today? They're the ones in Persia and Lebanon. They're all Jafaris. They're all 12 Imam Shiites. All the ones in Iraq are all 12 Imam Shiites. The Ismailis went further out. They're in East Africa. They're out in Afghanistan. They're out in India. They're in other places. Who's the leader of the 7 Imam Ismailis? Well, the Aga Khan, if you've ever heard of him. And even the name Khan, Aga Khan, means he's out originally from the steppes of Central Asia. He's Persian. But where does he hang out these days? In Sardinia. He developed the resort called the Costa Esmeralda. I was there this summer because I was taken to Italy by Italian television to appear on an Italian state television program on the Dead Sea Scrolls. And Some people invited me out to Sardinia and the Costa Esmeralda, so I've seen this place. It's pretty spectacular in terms of luxury and, if you like, rich watering holes for rich tourists and people like that. That's where the Aga Khan, he developed that. I think mainly he lives in Monte Carlo and places like that, Switzerland. In any event, his followers are mostly from East Africa. So I'll go back to that when I do the Shiites. But this problem of the Imam, the break in Shiism, occurred somewhere in here. But the Ismailis are not a force at the moment. Basically, when you talk about Shiism, you're talking about 12 Imam Shiism. The Ja'faris from Persia. They're named after the 6th Imam, Ja'far. 6th Imam would be the 6th successor to Ali, after he and Ali. So he would be the 3rd Imam after Ali's 2 sons. Anyway, we'll go back to that. But let's go forward and finish the history before we move over to the culture and the religion and the law and stuff, okay? So let's go back to our historical perspective, if you would allow me. So the Caliphate is wiped out in the 1250s by the Mongols. But before the Caliphate is wiped out, it was actually already weakened by what? Remember I told you the Turks came through in the 1000s? What happened between the 11 and 1200s? It's all on television these days. Because television has suddenly got, because of the Da Vinci Code, a huge bee in its bonnet about the Crusades. The Crusades, see, the Crusaders knew that there was problems in the Middle East at this time. And that they could maybe reconquer some of the lost territory because some of the difficulties the Abbasids were having. Who tipped them off to the fact that there were problems in the Middle East at this time? The Byzantines. The Byzantines had asked the help of the Latin Christians to reconquer territory that the Muslims had taken. That's really the bottom of what's at the root of the Crusades. And the Pope agreed to help. Before that, they'd been at odds, but at that point they started to try to cooperate. It didn't last long. And there was mainly focused on northern Syria, which had begun disconnecting itself also from Baghdad at this time. And the Byzantines wanted to make inroads into northern Syria. This would be around the time the Turks were coming in too, you see. So to some extent, when the Crusaders were fighting, they were fighting armies of Arabs led by Turkish chieftains. Now, the famous Arab commander in the Crusades, I just saw a thing on him in history television, was known as Salah ad-Din. As this is shortened by Christian and other, he's called Saladin, like he's a salad maker or something. He's Saladin.